the power in stepping away. We live in a world that praises visibility. Be seen, be loud, be productive, be relevant, be present, and most of all, don't disappear. Because if you do, people might forget you. Opportunities might pass you by. Life might move on without you. But let me offer a radical thought today. Maybe it's time to disappear, not forever, not in despair, but intentionally. To vanish from the noise, the chaos, the pretending. To step away, not to quit, but to reclaim your life. Disappearing is not failure, it's not weakness, it's not giving up. Sometimes, disappearing is what you do right before you rise again, stronger, freer. This is not a call to abandon your responsibilities. This is a call to abandon your self-neglect, to disappear from what numbs you, distracts you, drains you, and distorts your truth. It's time to disappear so you can come home to yourself. Point 1. Disappear from the identity you didn't choose from the moment we're born. We're handed scripts. Be a good girl. Boys don't cry. Make your parents proud. Be strong. Be successful. Don't fail. And we internalize them. We perform them. We live inside identities we never chose, only inherited. At 17, Sam was on track to be a doctor, just like his father. At 25, he was deep in medical school and deeply depressed. He told me, I kept thinking maybe if I get a degree, I'll feel better. But every step forward felt like walking away from myself. One day, Sam disappeared. He left school, shut down his social media, and took a solo trip across South Asia, not to run from something, but to listen to something quieter, but truer. He's now a documentary filmmaker, telling stories that matter. He says, I didn't drop out, I dropped in to my real life. So many of us are living someone else's definition of success, and it's making us successful on the outside, but strangers to ourselves on the inside. Disappear from the version of you that you didn't choose. Start writing your own story, in your own voice, with your own truth. Point 2. Disappear from the hustle that keeps you empty. We are taught that business is virtue, that being overbooked is being important, that working till you collapse is a sign of dedication. But what if I told you hustle is a hiding place? When we don't want to feel, we stay busy. When we're afraid to face the silence, we fill it with noise. And when we don't know who we are, we try to prove our worth by doing more. Sarah, a high-performing marketing executive, once told me, I don't even know what rest feels like. If I sit still too long, I panic. So I asked her, what would happen if you stopped proving and just started living? She paused and said, I'm afraid I wouldn't know who I am without the hustle. That fear is common, but it's also the invitation, because we are not what we produce. We are not our calendars, we are not our inboxes, our deadlines, or our paychecks. Rest is not laziness. Stillness is not waste. It is sacred. It is where clarity lives, where healing begins, where the soul whispers. Disappear from the pace that's keeping you from peace. Point 3. Disappear from the approval trap. Let's be honest, most of us are approval addicts. We measure our worth in likes, comments, validation, and praise. We post for affirmation, speak to be accepted, and shrink to stay safe. But in trying to be liked by everyone, we lose the one relationship that truly matters, the one with ourselves. Let me tell you about Lisa. She was a singer with a voice that could bring people to tears, but her label kept telling her, stay in the mainstream lane. Don't be too soulful. Don't go too deep. And she did, for years, until she realized she was losing herself. So Lisa disappeared, quietly. She left the label, moved to a small cabin in the woods, and spent a year writing songs just for herself. No filters, no formulas, just truth. When she re-emerged, her music sounded different, raw, unpolished, real. And that album, it changed lives. Because authenticity always finds its people. The moment you stop needing to be liked is the moment you become magnetic. The moment you stop performing is the moment you become powerful. Disappear from the addiction to approval. Become deeply, unapologetically you. Point 4. Disappear from environments that keep you small. Not every space deserves access to you. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. And not every group, job, or community is where your soul belongs. We stay because of guilt. We stay because of fear. We stay because we don't want to cause waves. But staying where you don't belong is a slow death. Junoid, a quiet but brilliant young man, grew up in a household where emotion was weakness. He learned to silence himself, to nod in agreement, to become invisible. But as an adult, that silence turned into shame. He began to feel like an imposter in his own life. So, he made the hardest choicing. He stepped away, not with resentment but with resolve. He said, I didn't leave to punish them. I left to protect myself. Boundaries are not selfish. They are sacred acts of self-respect. Disappear from the spaces that make you feel like you're too much, not enough, or invisible. Find the rooms where your voice is welcomed, not just tolerated, where your presence is cherished, not just endured. You are not meant to shrink to fit in, you are meant to expand into your fullness. Point 5. Disappear into silence so you can reclaim your soul. We live in a loud world. Constant connection, endless scrolling, non-stop stimulation. But here's the truth. We cannot heal what we won't sit still with. And that's weak sometimes. The most courageous thing you can do is go silent. Not just externally, but internally. Shut off the opinions. Mute the comparison. Pause the proving. Disappear into stillness so you can hear your own thoughts again. So you can feel what you've been numbing, so you can remember what you love, want, and dream about. I once met a woman named Noor. She took 40 days off, completely offline. No calls, no texts, no work. She journaled, cried, meditated, walked barefoot on grass, listened to old songs, reread childhood letters, and she said, "I didn't recognize myself at first, but I started to remember the girl I used to be, the one who danced in the rain and wrote poems at night. She was never gone, just buried." Silence is not absence. It is a return to softness, to intuition, to truth. Appear not to escape life, but to come home to it more fully. Reappear whole, not half so. Yes, disappear. Disappear from roles that confine you. Disappear from lies that define you. Disappear from systems that exploit you, identities that betray you, relationships that dim your light. Disappear long enough to hear your breath, to know your heartbeat, to fall back in love with your own soul. And then, when you're ready, reappear. Not rushed, not restless, but rooted, not polished, but present. Not who the world demanded, but who you were always meant to be. Because sometimes the most powerful transformation begins with a whisper. It's time to disappear. And from that sacred disappearance, you rise, you rebuild, you return, not invisible but invincible.